What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Fantasy Addiction Network. Today we're going to be doing a live draft, kind of showing you guys how this looks, giving you a little insight into strategy and how you can approach these drafts. But hey, if you guys are looking for rankings or just overall advice on how to draft your fantasy team and keep it updated, check out my website, fantasyaddictionnetwork.com. And if you like this video and want more XFL content on the daily, hit that like and subscribe button. Anyway, let's get right into this draft. Alright, so in this video I am going to actually do a live draft to show you guys kind of how this looks for the XFL over on Alt Fantasy Sports, and we're going to be going through an entire draft. I'll speed up between picks and just kind of narrate what's going on, give you guys some insight into strategy, how this kind of works. So basically all I have here is I printed out my own cheat sheets. I like to do things the old-fashioned way with paper and pencil. You can have a spreadsheet or Excel sheet pulled up, however you guys want to do it. I just like to be able to cross the names off as they go. That kind of seems to help keep me focused. I like to only have like one thing in front of me, so that way I am not too distracted by everything that's going on around me during the draft. That normally just seems to help keep me focused. But give you guys a quick overview of this league. We have one quarterback, one running back, two wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex. And we don't have any kickers or super flex. We also have one defense, special teams, and 4 bench slots. Now, we're awarding 6 points for touchdowns across the board. It's a full PPR league, pretty much standard scoring otherwise across the board. So we do have one rule that you're only allowed to draft one quarterback in the first 5 rounds to avoid too many players from not being able to get a quarterback. The other way around this, if you don't want to have an enforceable rule in the XFL, you could consider replacing the quarterback with a super flex. And then that way, you're most likely going to want to fill that with a quarterback because quarterbacks score more consistently than every other position. But overall, if you want to, make sure that everyone has the ability to play with a full roster, you could always do a super flex spot instead of a quarterback. That way, if all the quarterbacks go in the first round, then, and you didn't get one, you're still able to set a full lineup. So just a thought for you guys there. Thinking about instituting that in a few of my later drafts. But otherwise, we're still, counting down here. I randomized the draft order, and I'm actually going first in this draft, as you can see here. So basically the way the draft will work on Alt Fantasy Sports is you just go to the player tab. You can actually add players to a draft queue. So like if I wanted to add Jazz Ferguson over to the draft queue, then I can come over here. If you guys can't make the draft, it'll draft from your draft queue first. And then once that runs out, it starts drafting it kind of randomly. But I would highly recommend that you set that up first, because the ADP right now is really skewed. There haven't been enough drafts yet to actually set the ADP according to what I think that people would actually be drafting. So overall, just make sure to either be present for the draft or set your draft queue before you start. But when it actually starts, if you want to draft a player, I typically just search by the last name, and I'll show you in a second. Once the draft starts, you can just click here to draft. All right, we're almost ready. We'll be right back. All right, guys, so we are about 30 seconds away now, again with the roster of one quarterback, one running back, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex. Wide receivers are going to be pretty important in this league. I'm not nearly as concerned at running back. But since I'm drafting first, get my pick of the entire player pool here. I think that based on the analysis that I've done and looking through, the most clear-cut player that's going to get steady production and has the ability to dominate in this league is Sammy Coates. So I'm not going to get cute with this pick at all. I'm going to make sure to grab the guy that I think is the best player. So I'm going to grab Sammy Coates, and we will begin our draft with a top tier wide receiver. Bam. All right, so when you draft, it shows up on the draft board as who you drafted. And then basically, like I said, whenever a player gets drafted, I have my little cheat sheet. I just cross the name off, and we go from there. So now we're on to pick 2, and at this point, I'm really just hoping that there's still a decent amount. There will most certainly be a decent tier 2 wide receiver that swings back to me after after these first 2 rounds go. But I'm hoping that there's still a good running back that swings back to me. I'd like to at least lock down a good RB1. And I'm not too, like I said, not too concerned about quarterback. There's definitely places to draft a quarterback later. And, I don't really feel the need to go after a top tier guy as long as I can still grab someone in that tier 2. All right, so the first 2 picks off the board, I got Sammy Coates, and then we see Jazz Ferguson go. I've seen Jazz Ferguson creep up in a lot of rankings, which has been a bit surprising to me overall, but definitely think he has the potential to be the wide receiver 1 there. I just like Jeff Badet more, so we'll see how that goes. And then we see Christian Michael go off the board. First running back here, pick 3. There's still 2 really good wide receivers left with Rashad Ross and Mikael McKay. Expect those guys to be gone before the first round is over. And then we're also looking to see Cameron Artis-Payne, Jarrell Presley, Kenneth Farrow, the likes of those running backs there. So taking Sammy Coates first definitely is, leaving me a bit exposed at the running back spot. But since I only have to start 1, I am hoping that 1 makes its way back to me in the second round, so hopefully someone from the tier 2. All right, so we're coming back to my pick now. We've seen multiple running backs go, all 3 of my top tier guys. So now I want to nab a running back here, make sure I get someone that I trust. I think Kenneth Farrow is going to destroy it in Seattle, and I think that Kenneth Farrow is the best pick here. So I'm going to go with him. And then because I'm on the turn, I now get to turn around and looking to either take in Jeff Badet or Nick Truesdale. I really just want to lock down that wide receiver 2 spot. I think that Jeff Badet is the best option in Dallas. Now, there are going to be better tight end options later, but I just think it's a little too early to take a tight end overall. So let's go with Jeff Badet. All right, so at this point, we've seen Matt McGloin and Cardale Jones go. So there's still multiple quarterbacks on the board. That was another reason why I wasn't really too concerned looking at quarterback there. Even if most of the remaining teams take a quarterback, I can still nab 1 guy from my top 6. So that's why I'm really not looking to draft quarterbacks too highly. Then we saw De'Veon Smith go. I like De'Veon Smith a lot, but I think that Quentin Flowers is going to end up being a pretty dominant factor in that offense. So I think that he ends up scoring a little bit more. Now, it depends on whether or not your league has Quentin Flowers set as a quarterback or a running back. That will determine a lot of his value, but I think he profiles more as a running back. That's kind of how they're using him. They only have 3 other running backs on the team, so even though they'll use him to throw the ball, I think he also profiles as a really good running back. Yeah, so we see Quentin Flowers go here in the 3rd round. I definitely like that pick a lot, especially like it's showing quarterback, but we'll actually have him be listed as a running back in this league. So it's going to be really interesting to see what he can do. He's definitely going to play that Taysom Hill-like role in the offense there for Tampa. So I'm really excited for Quentin Flowers. Just too many other players being drafted where I drafted last. And then we see Landry Jones go. So that is the 3rd quarterback off the board. Definitely starting to get a little thin, so we'll probably be looking at quarterback in the next round, hoping to grab either Josh Johnson, Phillip Walker, or Jordan Ta'amu. I'm really, pretty set with any one of those guys. I just don't want to be stuck with either Aaron Murray or Brandon Silvers. Those, in my opinion, project to be the least valuable quarterback targets. So as long as I get a guy in the top 6, I'm good. I really like that pick there of Sean Tavis-Jones, and then we see Andre Williams go. I think those were both really good picks for where they're going. Sean Tavis-Jones saw a massive boost to his value after Antonio Callaway got hurt. We don't know how long he's going to be out for, but it's looking like it was pretty serious, so he could be out for a pretty significant amount of time. So I do think that Sean Tavis-Jones, going there. And then we see Nick Truesdale go, the first tight end off the board. I was really hoping that he'd come back to me, but it makes our pick the next round a little bit easier. We don't have to worry about tight end. I'm not going to draft tight end in the 4th round unless it's Nick Truesdale. Donald Parham is there, but he's kind of going under the radar right now. So I'll hope that he swings back to me in the 6th. Then we see Keith Mumphrey go. I've seen him jump up a lot recently in a lot of other analyst rankings. I don't understand that one. I like LaDainian Washington a lot better from St. Louis. I think that he is more of that athletic build that Jordan Ta'amu is used to throwing to with guys like A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf, but definitely has the speed to get open down the field. I just like both LaDainian Washington and Alonzo Russell better than Keith Mumphrey. So, but again, I've seen that one jump up in a lot of rankings, so we'll see how that turns out. We see Simi Cobbs go there. That one's a little bit interesting to me as well. He has looked good in preseason, but after being traded, or actually waived and then assigned to DC, I think the defenders just have too many other receiver options there. So, all right, so now we're looking at our team. Like I said, we started with 2 wide receivers and a running back. Pretty solid on all those spots. We see here that there are a few quarterbacks that went, but Josh Johnson is still there. I have him ranked in my tier 1. I think the LA is going to throw the ball a lot. I think the LA is going to throw the ball a lot, and just want to make sure I lock down a top tier quarterback since they fell to me at the end of the 4th. All right, so now I have my quarterback locked down. I have a running back locked down. I've got 2 receivers, but there's still a lot of guys left here, and I want to go for that stack. So I'm going to go ahead and grab Nelson Spruce here. And now I have my flex spot. So really liking how this is turning out so far with Josh Johnson as my quarterback 1. I've got Sammy Coates, Jeff Badet, and Nelson Spruce locking down the wide receivers, and then Kenneth Farrow as my running back. So next round, I'm probably going to end up trying to grab another running back or 2, or if there's still good tight ends left, I'll probably grab my tight end in the next round. All right, so we see Brandon Barnes went right after me. Definitely another valuable guy in tight end. And then we see Jordan Ta'amu go. Really like Jordan Ta'amu. I think that him getting the starting job there in St. Louis, really good for St. Louis and good overall for that team. Really excited to see what he can do. Struggling here, trying to decide what team to cheer for. I'm sure many of you are in that same boat. Right now I'm on the fence between DC and St. Louis. I think DC has the better team by far, but I don't know. I'm really kind of partial to see what Jordan Ta'amu can do in that system. I think I like their running game the best with Christian Michael and Matt Jones there, and they have a lot of big-bodied receivers. They're not really the best at any one position, but I think that they have a lot of potential in this league, and I'd like to see St. Louis do well, especially after everything that happened with the Rams. That fan base could definitely use a successful football franchise. I see Donald Parham go, so now the tight ends are getting a little bit thinner. Definitely going to be looking at Cole Hunt if he's still there, coming back to me in the 6th round, but I still got 6 picks to go before mine, so it's getting a little bit dicey at tight ends. Hopefully I can still grab Cole Hunt, and we'll move from there. All right, so now I am 2 picks away, and really excited to hopefully grab both Cole Hunt and Donnell Pumphrey. Both still there on the board. As soon as I freaking say it, Cole Hunt goes off the board. I'm still going to have to grab a tight end, or else it's going to get really, really dicey real quickly for me. So probably going to look at either Kari Lee or Evan Rodriguez. Just want to make sure I grab that. But Donnell Pumphrey's still there, so I'm still happy that I have the ability to grab a good running back 2 for me, to just in case Kenneth Farrow doesn't end up turning out the way that I was hoping for. I'm also looking at Khalil Lewis here. I really want him. I think he's going to do phenomenal in Houston, but I'm trying to decide if I would want both Lewis and Coates. I'm thinking right now my needs at tight ends and running back supersede that need, so we'll skip away from him. He'll probably go before our next pick, but we'll take the chance. So let's jump over here. Like I said, running back, let's get Pumphrey. I think he's going to do phenomenal in DC alongside Jarrell Presley. Really good running back, really good pass-catching running back, going to be super valuable in this league. And got to grab our tight end. Let's go with Kari Lee. I like him a lot in DC. I think he definitely has the potential to be a pretty good tight end, which whatever that means in the XFL. All right, so now go back through our entire team here. First pick, we had Sammy Coates, but we also now have Jeff Badette, Nelson Spruce, Kenneth Farrow, Donnell Pumphrey, Kari Lee, and Josh Johnson as our quarterback. So I'm really liking how this is turning out. Definitely a little bit disappointed we didn't get Cole Hunt with our last pick, tight end, but overall pretty excited about every other spot. Josh Johnson I have as an elite tier quarterback, so I'm pretty excited about that. Sammy Coates I have as my number 1 overall. I have Kenneth Farrow ranked 4th for running back, so pretty high up on all my positional lead guys. Jeff Badette I have ranked 4th overall, Nelson Spruce 5th, so I have 3 wide receivers in my top 5, 2 running backs in my top 10, and a top tier quarterback. Tight end is the only spot that I'm not excited about. We'll probably look to grab a defense in the next round unless they start going off the board here. So we see Tim Cook went after me. Really not excited for Tim Cook. I think that he and Darius Victor are going to split a lot of time. He's getting a lot of love across fantasy circles, but people are saying he's going to play the Derrick Henry role, but he has to be fast, and he's not fast. Derrick Henry is incredibly quick. Tim Cook is just big, so he'll probably get some red zone targets, I know, but I'm not really excited about a running back by committee between 2 big-bodied backs in this league that values wide receivers and pass catching backs so much. Then we see Kason Williams go. I definitely like him the best of the guys in Seattle, but a lot of people are picking up on Dantes Bird as well. So Seattle is one of the harder teams to project from a wide receiver spot. There's not really any true standout guys, at least not from a metrics and a past statistical production standpoint. So I'm just trying to avoid pretty much any wide receiver in Seattle, and we'll go from there. Then we see Evan Rodriguez, and then Khalil Lewis went as I kind of projected. I like Khalil Lewis a lot, so I'm really liking Embrace the Grind's team. He's coming across pretty solid. Look at his overall team. He has Cardale Jones, who I have as a top tier quarterback. He's got Rashad Ross, Khalil Lewis, and LaDainian Washington, all wide receivers I like a lot. Andre Williams and Quentin Flowers can lock down the running back spot for him. And then he has Donald Parham. So I like his tight end better than mine. His quarterback, same tier. Wide receivers pretty. So right now I think that he's going to end up being the main competition for me, but we'll keep going, try to see if we can lock down as many players as we can in case some people don't produce the way that we've expected. All right, so especially in the XFL, we're gonna have to get really strategic about our later round picks as well. So we have our starting roster filled out, and we already have a running back on the bench. So it really depends on whether or not, how we want to fill those bench slots. I'm running with 4 bench slots here, and I'm thinking what's going to end up making the most sense is to try to lock down the more injury prone positions in wide receiver and running back. I think I can still grab Saeed Blacknell or Teo Redding or even Alonzo Russell in my next round. So I'm just going to probably ignore wide receiver here. Going to make sure I lock down a top tier defense and grab another running back, so I at least have 3 running backs that I'm pretty confident in going into the season. All right, so you see Aaron Murray went there, so I'm going to go ahead and just take Jaquan Gardner, make sure I get my backup for Kenneth Farrow. So I have 3 running backs. I'm done with running backs, guys. I only need to start 1. I've grabbed 3, confident in them. I'm going to make sure I grab a defense here. So let's go. We're going to look for... to toss up between DC and Dallas for me. I like both of them. I think Dallas is going to be the better team, so we'll go with Dallas. The starting quarterbacks are getting real thin here. We still see Brandon Silvers is out there, and I believe the Philip Walker is there. We just saw Connor Cook go. There hasn't been any official word as to the starter in Houston, but there was some rumors that were posted around yesterday that it's looking like Philip Walker is going to be the guy. So if he's still there, I might grab Philip Walker, which will help give me a trade piece with the guy with Connor Cook once that news becomes a little bit more official. And the XFL is super gritty right now. You have to be incredibly in tune with everything that's happening in the league, or else you can mess up and miss out on something pretty pivotal. So got to keep your ear to the ground in this league because things change all the time. People are getting cut, released changed in the depth chart. We haven't even seen the official depth chart come out yet, so there's a lot of change going on around the XFL, so make sure you're keeping up to date, and that's why I have my cheat sheet for you guys. I've been keeping up to date with everything that's going on around the XFL, so as news breaks, I'm updating those cheat sheets on a daily basis, keeping you guys ready to go no matter when your draft is. So make sure you click that link in the description or go to fantasyaddictionnetwork.com, get that cheat sheet, so that way you know that Philip Walker is looking to be the starting quarterback. You can see that Philip Walker has jumped up in my rankings and Connor Cook has dropped down. Alright, so as I said, I'm looking at Teo Redding here. Just got to go ahead and draft him, get him out of the way. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I already have Josh Johnson, but I'm debating whether I go Philip Walker or I take Saeed Blacknell here. The only reason why I would take Philip Walker is just in case Josh Johnson ends up not being the starter, and it also gives me some trade ammunition. But overall, I'm going to take Philip Walker. You see that second to last pick go there, Saeed Blacknell. That was definitely the cost of having to take a second quarterback in Philip Walker. I like Saeed a lot, but we'll end up seeing what happens. I just wanted to make sure, because right now with LA, I still think that Josh Johnson is going to be one of the better quarterbacks, but they've been a bit finicky with the news that they've been giving. So overall, not fully sure on if it's 100% guaranteed that Josh Johnson is going to be the quarterback there. The XFL is crazy. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. But hey, let's go down, break down our team one last time for you guys. So we have at quarterback, we have Josh Johnson and Philip Walker, two high-tier quarterbacks that I have. And then at running back, we have Donnell Pumphrey, we have Kenneth Farrow, and Jaquan Gardner. At wide receiver, we've got four guys. We've got Sammy Coates, we've got Jeff Badette, we have Nelson Spruce and Teo Redding, and then at tight end, we've got Kari Lee, and then we grabbed Dallas defense. So pretty pumped for this overall. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, we are updating our rankings all the time, keeping you guys up to date so that way you can draft the best possible team this weekend and anytime you do your draft. Keep a lookout. The XFL said they're going to be dropping a platform as well, so if they have a season-long league, we'll make sure that our rankings are set up for that. And thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.